Hi. It's on the stick after dark. It's 10:16. It's dark everywhere now.
I mean,
Although pretty
on this
soon,
side of the world.
Joe, it won't be dark where Joe is when we're doing on the stick after dark, which will be all fucked up. We have to kick him off the stream, I guess. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm here with Joe, who's gonna get kicked off the stream. And Kurt.
It's always dark where I am, no matter what.
It's like a black hole. You just suck all the light right back in.
That's right. Yeah, that's a storm cloud over my head. do 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 do.
I don't know. I guess Joe said his friend had requested that we play Katamari Damacy at some point.
And we don't need much of an excuse.
No,
to
it's not hard to
it is
convince me
great.
to play this. So I'm playing this on an emulator, PCSX2. It says res at 6x the normal resolution, which means like the menus and cutscenes and things look a little weird, but the game itself looks really fucking amazing when you up-res it. From what I've seen of the new Katamari re-rolled thing that's out on Steam and Switch, that's basically what that is. That port is just like a higher resolution port where all the other assets are just ripped right out of PlayStation 2, which is fine, because
you don't need to do anything with it.
Nope.
Don't mess it up.
Nope, we don't need to change anything. The game is
let
great.
It be
Yep.
terrific and insane and catchy and adorable.
Play this one, play the
just
second one,
is.
and just then every 5 years or so go back and play those. You don't even need to play the other various Katamari games that are out there.
Yeah. I feel like
Xbox
We Love
360
Katamari
one
got kind of a bad rap because I don't know why.
It was a little too soon. It was like 1 year after this came out.
I still thought it was good.
I think if there had been like 2 or 3 more years of like gap space in between, probably people would have looked more fondly on it. I think that game is really good. It has
the little
more
shot
interesting
of the prince
objectives.
dancing on his dad's knee. It's fucking great.
Yeah, that game, we love Katamari. I have a disc of it. I might be able to make that work. I don't have the ROM dumped, or I don't have the ISO of that.
You didn't rip
dumped.
it.
Yeah.
You didn't rip your legal, you didn't make a legal backup of your.
No, I mean, I could go grab those
yeah.
right now if you want to look at them. I mean, I also just downloaded these. I didn't actually rip them myself, because, come on.
I mean, with PSX, what is it?
PCXX.
You can just play the disc on your computer.
You just put the disc in your disc drive.
Oh, can you? Yep. I did not know that.
Yeah. Totally works.
Rhino North says I'm in. Good, because, being in for good things is good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anti-Katamari, that's...
Yeah, you are not a friend of the On the Stick radio network.
It's not
I'm not sure that I've ever laughed as hard at a video game as I did the first time I rolled a person into my Katamari.
It's fine. You just they love it. They love to be rolled up and then shot into outer space.
I'm a little behind, so I'm singing with something that's probably not happening now.
Amazing. You look
amazing
today.
I have a case for my PSP that looks like the prince's head.
That's great.
Yeah. Even though, the Katamari game on PSP was kind of unplayable because it only has one analog stick.
Right. For those that are not aware, Fangamer at fangamer.com has been spinning up a bunch of Katamari gear, t-shirts, and they have actually a duffel bag that is the prince's head, and stuff like that. And I got one of the t-shirts for Christmas because it's fucking great.
Let's just try dumping that down a little bit.
It is fucking great. I mean,
there we go. Now she's running smooth.
It's joy in video game form.
Apparently streaming it doesn't run quite smooth at 6 times the normal resolution, so this is only at 4 times the normal resolution.
You monster.
Yeah, sorry. Look, man, you play Katamari Damacy, you want fucking nice, high, smooth frame rate,
It's true. It's true.
Man, it's still kind of chunky.
This resolution seems low, but I guess Tiny tiny,
chunky.
blocky prints. If you cannot do better, then we will just have to.
What's up with my?
I mean, the game
Endure.
always looked chunky, right? Like that was
Yeah.
sort of that was a very conscious stylistic decision.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's always the best way to go about these kinds of things. Is, you know, you see lots of like hyper realistic things that came out, quote unquote hyper realistic things that came out many years ago, and you know they look like shit. You know, and that's not just true of video games, but like computer animation and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And if you go for a style,
It lasts forever.
it lasts longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
It does. You don't get that. Oof, God, look at that face.
Man, this is running like shit. I feel really bad. Last time I did stream this, like I said, a couple of years ago, and it worked like totally great. Generally speaking, PCSX2 has been pretty good for this, but I wonder if I need to change the plugin that I'm using for the video thing.
It might be.
I have not used this in a while. This is like a 2-year-old version of this also, so... Let's try... I'll stop the recording and just do the stream.
I didn't realize you were recording these.
Yeah, I turned that on the other day. I lost all the archive. I forgot to save the archive stuff on Twitch of the... Whoa. I was just saying how well this ran on PCSX2, and it's run like shit.
So, Eric, I started mentioning this earlier, and I didn't want to talk about it on the Genesis stream.
Okay.
It seems a place where we talk about more of the sort of what's new, what's going on.
What's
who's
new,
playing
Pussycat?
what,
Whoa,
big-
whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's
So-
what's new, Pussycat.
If you didn't hear or didn't
Uh-huh.
see, yesterday it was revealed that someone has located a cartridge that was submitted to Nintendo for Nintendo of America for licensing, approval, and it is a unannounced, unreleased wrestling game.
No, I haven't seen
for the
that.
NES. Yeah, so this is totally weird. There's a lot of stuff going around and a lot of theorizing about what it is and what the deal is. It's a game from Seta, who is responsible for what may be the most noteworthy unreleased NES game, Bioforce Ape.
I was gonna say right? Question mark, because that's the only one I know.
And you must know like California Raisins and Drax.
Oh, I didn't realize California Raisins actually hadn't come out.
No, California Raisins was unreleased. It was one of the early ones that was discovered.
It's been around on the internet a really long time, so
Right.
it feels like it was actually released. But
Right.
Yeah, that and Drax Night Out, the game where you play as Dracula with Reebok pump sneakers.
it's true.
There's actually a really fantastic GameSpot stream of Jeff Gersman and Frank Cifaldi playing Drax Night Out together. That is just one of the most wonderful things that I've ever watched. But yeah, so it's called UWC, which is weird.
That's not a real thing.
Isn't that triple UC?
No, it's not a real thing. And right, exactly. Nice job, Curtis.
Thanks.
I
thought that just went by, which was fine.
It's not a real thing, but what the theory that that was passed on to me. Okay, so here's the thing. This game was submitted to Nintendo in 1990, which presumes it was developed during 1989. One of the most interesting things about it is there's only one wrestling game for the Famicom which did not get localized to the NES. That game is called Tokon Club, which is basically Wrestling Club, just for lack of a better way of putting it. And that was a Jalico game. This is not that game. So this is a game that was made from the ground up for the US market and never released and never announced. And the theory that I heard is that when Turner was acquiring WCW from Jim Crockett Promotions to turn it into WCW,
Right.
one of the possible names that they went through was UWC instead of WCW.
Okay.
And that kind of makes sense because the roster is 8 dudes who were all in WCW at the time. But this is not a version of the actual WCW game that came out on the NES that was developed by, I think, Pony Canyon, and is like not very good. This is a different thing. And the roster is like, it's also kind of a weird roster because it's like Hawk and Animal, and Sting, and then one of the Freebirds, Jimmy Jam Garvin. Yeah, not one of the Freebirds, and not the one you would think, right? So it's not Michael P.S. Hayes. It's Jimmy Jam Garvin. And then it's like Ric Flair.
Was that before he was in the time?
Before
Jimmy Jam Garvin was in the time.
Yeah. Yes.
His tag team partner Terry Lewis.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is that he was one of the Fabulous Freebirds, and they did style themselves as if they were a wrestling band. So, I mean...
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, so the heels... So those are, I think, the baby faces. I think Garvin was a baby face at that time. And the heels, it's like Barry Windham, Ric Flair, beautiful Bobby Eaton, and I think Lex Luger, because that was when he was like one of the bad horsemen. In that time to talk about Luger was a horseman.
Bad horse.
And what's also weird is that like there's 2 horsemen in the game, but not the rest of them. Like, I don't know, because I think they were still doing horsemen in '89, '90, so it would make sense. But it's a weird roster. It looks like it plays okay. Obviously, so the guy said he's going to dump the ROM, but he has not dumped it yet.
Okay.
So all there is to go on is some video. But this is just like, there's some things where it's like, an unreleased game gets dumped or it gets found, and it's like, oh, everybody not to take away from what a big deal it is that SimCity for the NES got dumped in December, because that is a big deal, but like everybody kind of knew that existed, right? Like everybody was like, oh yeah, like they were definitely doing SimCity for the NES. But it was like a known quantity had been talked about, all that stuff. But like for this is a game that just like appeared out of the ether, right? It's just like, here's this game. It wasn't
the thing that was like rumored that it was like, we found it.
Right. Yeah.
It was just like, oh, here's this game we've never freaking heard of.
Right. Here's a game that
Sky
never.
Reynolds said, just chimed in talking for us. We're talking about an unreleased NES game that was just found.
Yes. Unreleased NES
wrestling.
game.
Wrestling
UWC. Yep. And then there's a wrestling game. Yeah, so it's strange, and that stuff does happen. On Genesis or Genesis Isn't, we've played Jesse Ventura's wrestling, which was a U.S. version of the Fire Pro game, Thunder Pro Wrestling Retsuden, that came out for the Genesis, the Mega Drive in Japan. Again, that's another thing that is really interesting about this, because it would still be interesting even if it was a localization of Tokon Club, just to be like, oh, there was an American release of this game planned that just didn't happen for whatever reason.
Right.
But it's even more interesting and weirder to find out, like, oh, this is not only an unreleased, unannounced game, but like this is one that was built from the ground up for the U.S. market, and nobody knows, like, it's not.
It wasn't on anybody's radar.
It wasn't on anybody's radar whatsoever. And it's also really interesting to see people who don't really know anything about wrestling get super hype about this wrestling game, just because it's like an undiscovered NES game.
Right.
So it's like, oh man, wrestling. So yeah, I don't know. I guess by all appearances, it was an early attempt at a WCW game that didn't end up happening for whatever.
And you said it's an 8-character roster.
Yep, 8 characters.
And presumably one.
Is there what era? What year is it from? Like,
it's from '90,
okay.
And so it looks like it may have been developed in '89 and was set to be. It was sent to Nintendo in 1994.
I'm glad to see that Eric plays this game about how I do.
Everybody play it basically the same way.
Get what you can, man. Keep moving.
Yeah, well, sometimes I play it and I'm like, man, I barely made this thing, and I didn't find this or that. But whatever, I'm good. I had fun.
You gotta play this game like a shark. You just keep moving.
I'm sure there are exactly. I'm sure there are people that like will optimize the hell out of whatever. And I'm like, nope, I don't need that.
Kickboard Boy is losing his shit on that.
He is.
Katamari.
Well, wouldn't you? You're all stuck on this thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can't remember what Kickboard Boy's like sound, shout is when he gets caught.
Right. Let's see here. Starcast
Like there's
Productions.
one of the people that's like,
Right,
Yeah, that's my
they
favorite
all
guy.
make weird
I think he's usually riding a bike.
yeah.
I think.
Snarkcast Productions says, "Hey everyone, Sky Reynolds says Jesse Ventura had a game, an unreleased wrestling game starring a former governor." Yeah, it was. We did it. If you look through the Genesis playlist, we did it last year. I think WrestleMania week we played it. Eric played it, and I did it as usual. It's a Fire Pro game, so it's like pretty good, but like it's not as refined as later Fire Pro games. Like it's fine, and Red Jesse Ventura is the only real wrestler in it.
I didn't get the. I think there's a giant fish somewhere on this map that you can find and pick up if you get big enough, but I didn't get there. But even though I have played this in the last 2 years, it's still been like 2 years, so it's going to take me a minute to get my.
Get your chops up.
Yeah.
Get your Katamari maximization
88
skills.
fish. Single line fishing. Are you on vacation? Use a net. Go boldly and aggressively. We'll manage to turn it into a constellation, but make it more fresh next time.
There's so many goofy things in this game, and like a thing will you'll pause and it'll be like, your Katamari is as big as 4 of these. It's just like pneumatic tube or whatever, just some random thing. Like
also,
yep,
the king
okay.
is such a passive aggressive asshole. All
He
the
is.
time.
He's
God.
such a douchebag.
I mean, he does, like, if you do a really good job, he does get legitimately excited and proud, but
Right. But if you don't,
yeah.
he is such a passive aggressive dick. That's what I was channeling earlier. It was just like, well, if the prince can't be any more blocky can't be any less blocky than this, then I guess that's fine. But we would prefer less blocks.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Also, there's this whole thing of the like Japanese family. It's just like, what?
Yeah, I know. Why is this in this game? What does this mean? Yeah. I mean,
and like a giant Katamari goes by in the background, and mom doesn't notice it, and the kids are like, "Dude," and she's like, "Huh? What?"
This game is so good.
And there's like no animation in any of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like some static figures with
When
voices,
boots,
but
we
it's
see.
still adorable.
also when he addresses you mid-level, just to talk about the things that you're picking up or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Squash,
like, "Oh,
younger
hey."
sister. Squash, older sister. Like, what?
Yeah, just weird contextual shit like that. Man. Gotta find all the cousins so you can fight people. Because who cares about that?
Pin,
Yeah,
younger
I-
brother. Pin, older brother.
I read a thing that was talking about how recently Nobi Boy celebrated an anniversary of
Did
some
it?
sort. Man, that
Is it
game
still up?
is- I don't know. I mean, I think
I think they
so,
made
Fire
it
up
to
my
the farthest
PS3.
like thing that they could get
right.
to.
Girls stretch to Pluto and back to Earth again,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think you can still download the game and play it and visit all the planets and all the weird physics with all the different planets and everything.
The game is so weird.
That was one of the few things that I played an actual amount of when I got a PlayStation 3. Even though by
I mean,
that
it's
time
not-
it was pretty much.
It's been.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even really it's not much of a game. It's more like a toy,
Yeah.
Like, there's no goal, there's no end state, there's no fail state, there's
Was
no
to collectively
winning
get to
state.
Pluto and back.
Right, yeah.
Right. But at the end, aren't all the girls the Nobis that we met along the way or something?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, sure.
I mean, technically speaking, we've all won at that point, right? It's already happened.
So there's some chatter in the chat about Jim Hurd taking over WCW, and yeah, it seems like this game predates that because, as some people have mentioned, like the Ding Dongs are not in it.
Too bad.
The Dynamic Dudes are not in it. It's like a pretty classic WCW roster of, like I said it before, but I'll say it again, just for people who may not have been tuned in. The roster is the Road Warriors, Sting, Jimmy Jam Garvin.
What a weird pick.
It's such a
Really,
weird
there's
pick.
no era in which Jim Garvin really belongs in a fucking...
Right, unless it's got it's like a super deep roster. It was focused on tag teams, maybe. I could see that. But like putting Garvin in instead of Michael P.S. Hayes, if you're going to put a Freebird in,
Yeah.
just seems weird.
You wanted too much money.
Yeah, right. And
they couldn't get the rights to the song, so it was pointless.
Right. And then it's like Luger, Flair, Barry Windham, and
And there's
Bobby.
that rolling guy.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's from watching the footage, it seems like it's better than at least 50% of the wrestling games on the NES, and probably any of the WWF.
Most of
ones.
the I mean, the NES wrestling game scene ain't real strong, so that's...
No, it really isn't. There's a couple that are like kind of fun. Tecmo World Wrestling is kind of fun. Pro Wrestling, like Nintendo Pro Wrestling, is pretty fun. But
Yeah.
once you kind of move beyond that strata, they range from like not very good to like just fucking terrible. Like WrestleMania
very good,
Challenge
really
is
not
not
very
very good. Yeah. WrestleMania Challenge is not very good. WrestleMania is fucking terrible. Muscle is fucking terrible. WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge is not the same as WrestleMania Challenge. It's fucking terrible. King of the Ring is fucking terrible. WCW is like not very good.
Sky Reynolds says wrestling games of that era has always had weird rosters. Here's the best of the best, and IRS, and Crush, and Papa Shango.
That's actually...
WWE's roster at that time wasn't super deep.
Yeah.
If we're being totally
WrestleMania,
honest.
like, for being a terrible game, actually has a totally... Like, the roster at least makes
I
sense.
mean,
in
it
that
only
game.
has like 5 people.
Right, but it's the 5... It's like the
Bam
5...
Bigelow's a little left field.
Fuck you, Bam Bam Bigelow is fucking awesome. There's my
Whoa, dude,
my counter argument.
I was just,
How dare
I
you?
I was just talking on Twitter the other day about how it's an insult to Bam Bam Bigelow that Torrie Wilson is getting into the WWF Hall of Fame before him.
Whatever. I mean, they're just trying to
But-
find... They have to find a woman to put in every year, so I get it, but...
Bull Nakano wasn't available? Like, what? I mean,
Who's
but
that? Nobody in WWE knows who she is.
She's the former women's champion. Like,
Yeah, but of an era that nobody remembers.
I
One of them
guess.
was in
but they were all
Playboy,
stoked
Joe.
They were
when-
doing
when-
too much coke.
When Medusa got inaugurated, people were hyped for that. So, and her most notable feud in WWE was with Bull Nakano.
Yeah. But she threw the belt in the trash.
She did.
Oh,
She
the
fished it out
humanity.
for
She
a
didn't
Hall of
respect
Fame.
Look, man,
though.
I agree. I like Bull
Speech.
Nakano. The fact that Bull Nakano's not in there is crazy, but whatever.
Right. But my point is,
The Hall of Fame doesn't make much sense. China is
Right.
just now getting in, right?
Kind of. Sort of.
Right.
Kind of getting in? What does that mean?
D-Generation X is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and she was a member of D-Generation X.
And China
She's
is
not being
one
inducted,
of the
like-
biggest stars of like their most important era, right?
Right.
And she's still not in there, so whatever.
Sky Reynolds says, you always had a bunch of world champions or challengers and then one or two random guys who never broke Intercontinental League.
I don't
Bam
know.
Bam was the most agile big man in the business.
Bam Bam was the most agile big man.
And he-
Bam Bam
he-
was amazing.
And he had a
Bam Bam
moment
had
after
like
the
wrestling.
fact where he was one of their biggest stars, right? Like the
Yeah, I
Lawrence
was just gonna
Taylor
say,
thing.
he headlined the first
He's somebody
Survivor
I've heard
Series.
of.
He headlined the first King of the Ring, and he headlined a WrestleMania, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
What? Who did he piss off? Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Like there has to be a
He
story
slept with
behind
somebody's
right?
wife.
Yeah, it has to
No,
be something like that, right?
he's got heat with the Clique. He's got heat with Sean and Hunter and
I guess.
Nash.
So-
and- or he had he's
I was
dead
gonna say,
now,
he's
but
dead,
He had
so-
heat with those guys.
Mr.
Yeah.
Monster says, one, I love this game, which good on you, because
Yeah.
as we said, you can't not love this game, or we'll ban you. And then he said, we need Honky Tonk Man in the Hall of Fame.
He's getting in this year, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yes,
he
Ghost
was like the
says-
first announced.
Induct the Jumping Bomb Angels to the Hall of Fame.
Hell
then
yeah.
Close it.
Yeah, hell yes.
And then says close down the Warriors wing.
Hell yeah.
Rhino Nar says N64 wrestling good, PS1 wrestling bad.
That was the first best women's wrestling match in WWE. Jumping Bomb
What?
Angels and Survivor Series like 98 or whatever the fuck it was. Or not 98, 88.
Like 88.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Jumping Bomb Angels didn't fuck around. I mean, Japanese women's wrestling was a lot more serious than
Right.
U.S. women's wrestling for a long time. Mae Young, or sorry, not Mae Young. Fabulous Moolah kind of fucked up women's wrestling in the United States for like half a century. So,
Yeah.
because she trained like so many of the women who came in, and it was all like hair pulling and scratching and stuff. And in Japan, they were wrestling.
They were
you
like,
know,
no, fight.
Yeah, like one of the Wrestling Observer newsletters match of the years in like 1993, I think it was, is like a women's tag match. That's super good. 2 out of 3 falls women's tag match.
Sky Reynolds says a rolling ball gathers a bunch of random items while people talk wrestling. This is why I love live streams. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we've praised the shit out of Katamari, so now it's just a matter of watching it and being delighted.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm gonna disagree with Rhino Nar on his N64 wrestling is good, PS1 wrestling is bad statement. There are bad wrestling games on the PS1, but SmackDown 2 is pretty good. And
I would say that there are PS1 wrestling games that were okay at the time, but the N64 ones are kind of the only ones from that era that hold up.
that is a fair statement.
Like you don't want to play any of
Yeah.
those PlayStation 1 wrestling games now.
No, not really.
I got 1 out of 2. You gotta get the other one.
I
There you go.
do like WrestleMania the arcade game though, which has a PS1 port, I guess. So that's it's a weird game, but it's a fun game.
I haven't really watched people play this game very much. I've mostly just played it myself. So
Yeah.
it's always funny to see sort of like random shit that you don't really know. Like I played this game for a number of hours before I really noticed the prince in the corner actually doing, the stuff you're doing.
Oh
And
yeah.
getting like the
Because you
the
can't actually
snorkel and
see
shit.
him. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, oh, wait, I see. I understand what's going on here. Mr. Monster says, hand down, best retro game for wrestling, which I consider retro now, is WWF Warzone. For PS1, it had the best promos.
I'm gonna disagree with
mean,
you
I
on
think-
that assessment of WWF Warzone.
Joe's go-to that I always hear him talk about is Show No Mercy. Or No Mercy.
Just-
No
it's
Mercy.
just-
It's not the Slayer record. It's a
No.
different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, No Mercy is definitely better than Warzone in my opinion.
It's still
like
a
by an
mystery.
order of magnitude.
Beyond comprehension, a thing of wonder. We'll take the mystery rainbow back.
Trash can younger sister.
64 twins. Well, is it mysterious or normal or what? The real mystery is how you managed to get so few. I got 59%. What is it? Why? I didn't realize that I could exit into that bigger town area. I thought that was blocked off.
Yeah, that's sometimes hard to tell for sure. He gives you shit. I think generally if you get less than like 85%,
Yeah.
he'll throw some shit.
Yeah, this is some subpar Katamari-ing.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Oh, I feel it. I feel the costume.
I'm just now seeing that result screen and the actual Katamari that he's holding in his other hand, just so weird and misshapen. It's like a giant fence thing sticking out of the side of it. It's just like, yep, that's
Make a
Katamari.
star 7. All right, here we go. I think this is one where you can get real big. But yeah, it's really cool that guy is going to dump that and make that available to people.
Yeah,
I look forward to checking it out.
I feel like Cosmos.
So what else is going on? Anything? You guys playing anything?
I'm
I
playing
have-
Resident Evil 2 for the first time.
Oh,
because of
really?
the remake, because of you guys all talking about it.
Original Resident Evil 2?
No,
or
I'm
new
playing the
Resident-
re-release thing.
Be rolling around the world.
So I am still trying to get my room set up, so I haven't played a video game. Except I did a Patreon stream last Thursday, and I think that's like the only video games I've played since I moved. So
Wow. So I just got to the point where Mr. X shows up and starts
What the fuck is this
menacing
video
me.
game?
are you
Bah.
playing
Nah.
as
Nah, says the king as I roll up a bunch of bananas.
Yep. Yep. And I think it's time to like each one that you pick up.
He's doing
Like,
it
you
again.
pick one
I
up and he
can't
says
see.
bah. So if you don't go straight, he'll just say bah, and then later he'll say nah, depending on what level you're at, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So anyway, so what do you think about Resident Evil?
I'll just.
who are you playing as, Kurt?
So before I answer that, Sky Reynolds says weird and misshapen sums up this game quite nicely. It absolutely does. So I'm playing as I wanted to say Chris Redfield, but of course that's wrong.
No. So Leon then.
Claire Redfield?
Leon
Okay.
You
Kennedy.
chose poorly because Claire is way better.
I
Well,
just
you
went
play as
with
both.
whatever it was due.
Full experience. So
And I am enjoying it.
How far are you?
So like I said, I just encountered Mr. X,
Okay.
and he has menaced me, and
He's quite menacing.
he is quite menacing. And I
so
got
you just
back.
like lifted the helicopter out of the
He
way
lifted the
and,
helicopter, and I had like no ammo whatsoever at that point. I did not realize that he was unstoppable anyway.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I ran back to the roof. He came out, and then I ran in a circle and ran back through
Yep.
and ran away.
He's
And then he kept
unkillable,
coming.
but he's not unstoppable. You can
Right.
knock
You
him
can knock-
down.
yeah,
you
you
can
can
like
There's-
stun him.
Push him down to
Yeah.
one knee. But
Yeah.
it's not really recommended unless you have a surplus of ammo.
Yeah, essentially, I did that to that. I got him to that point, and then he stood up and walked away, and I went and like checked something. I was like, "Is this guy unstoppable? Am I just throwing my ammo away?" It's like, yes. Okay, then I'm just gonna not do this.
So in the original Resident Evil 2, he would drop stuff. If you knocked him down, he would drop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then in Resident Evil 3, Nemesis gives you like unique items for fighting him and like knocking him down. But yeah, in this one, you just want to avoid Mr. X completely.
Yeah, I have found the hardest part so far is when you get you're up in the 3rd floor and you like blow the door off the like cell or whatever it is, and you go in and get one of the medallions.
Yep.
And then the like 2 lickers spawn in that room.
Yep.
That was incredibly difficult.
So the hot strat on that is
You get that, and then you never go in that room ever again.
well, but when you set off the thing, it knocks over the bookshelf in front of the door. Move
Right.
the bookshelf before you go get the doodad, because when you get the doodad, that's when the lickers like come after you. So
Right.
if you just you can safely move the bookshelf out of the way of the door, and then grab the doodad, and then just like run out the door that you've already made accessible. But if you
I
don't
ran
do
out
that
the other
first,
door instead.
right, then you end up having to run around the whole room.
Yeah.
Which you have to like snake through the
Well,
room
actually,
through the layout,
I
and
died
the
a couple
lickers-
times, and then
Yeah.
I did that instead.
Yeah. Claire is a little better equipped to deal with the lickers than Leon is.
Yeah.
Like, the shotgun will take them out, but Claire, like, the 2 acid rounds from Claire's grenade launcher, and, like, they're done. So,
Nice.
And those are much more readily available than a lot of the stuff Leon does. I personally I enjoyed the Claire playthrough quite a bit more than the Leon one. Plus, I just like Claire as a character more. Although
I mean,
the
Leon is
dialogue
just like
yeah,
beige.
Yeah.
Beige as a character.
which is interesting because in RE4, he's such a goon. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I love RE4 Leon. He's great, but he's this, you know, cheesy catchphrase spouting, you know, sarcastic action hero, which interestingly is not in any of the Japanese dialogue. Like, if you read the Japanese subtitles, like, apparently, like, he's like, where did everybody go? Instead of like in English, the actual spoken dialogue for English, he's like, where's everybody going?
Where
bingo.
are the white boys at?
You know, and it's like
Bingo.
that stuff isn't even in the. So is this your like virgin Resident Evil experience? Like, period? You've never played a Resident Evil before?
No, I played a little bit of Resident Evil 1 until I found out about giant spiders, and I decided not to play anymore. Although I keep saying I should go back and play that. And then I played
5 with
Resident
me.
Evil 5 with Coffee and with Eric, and then I played 7.
Did you play all the way through 7?
Yeah, I loved 7. 7 was great.
7 was great. Also, totally disconnected from the rest of the franchise.
Right. Well, that was part of the thing. It was like, well, 1, it's totally disconnected, and 2, it's really scary, or creepy, or whatever you want to call it, depending on your level of whatever.
Right.
So yeah. Mr. Monster says current game I am playing is a Pokemon game in preparation for Sword and Shield and playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I have that, but I got that and Assassin's Creed Odyssey for Christmas, and I finished Odyssey and decided I needed something shorter.
Did you see all the crazy
to play
shit
after
in
that.
Odyssey? Like the stuff where you're like, I can't, man. They did a thing where they talked about like a bunch of spoilers in the giant bomb game of the year thing that was just like completely off the fucking wall. That had to do with some like assassination some things at the end of the game.
I don't know. That is incredibly vague, so I'm not
Okay.
sure. But I will say I left a bunch of stuff on the table because I played a lot of side quests and all that stuff. And I got to the end of the main quest line, and I was like level 43 or something like that. And the last few, like there's a big conspiracy, of course, and you know they give this giant web of people you got to deal with. But finishing the main story is not getting to the end of that. And so when I finished the main story, there was a whole bunch of those left, but most of them were at level 50. And I was like, and this is a game where if you're more than like one level short, you're just gonna get wrecked. I was like, do I really feel like grinding for a couple of hours to get to the point where I can do these fights? I decided I didn't care enough at that time, at least.
So the answer is apparently no.
Yeah, so probably not.
Okay, I think.
But I did fight a whole bunch of different. There's a bunch of quests where you get like ancient artifacts by fighting ancient like
meters.
Greek
It's just a baby.
mythology creatures like the Minotaur.
Yeah. Anyway, there's some. I'll tell you about it after the stream. I'll be.
Yeah.
I might have to look up some of the details also, but it has to do with like an interaction with a historical figure and some pretty bonkers shit.
Okay. I mean, there is a whole portion. There are allusions to Atlantis.
Okay, so you did see it.
But I saw the intro to that, but I didn't get
Okay.
to that part, I didn't clear all the stuff I needed to do that.
That's the stuff. That's the stuff that gets
Okay.
fucking wild. Apparently.
Yeah, I was gonna try and go back to at least pick that up, but
That was so crazy that I was tempted to pick the game to play it. I don't even really like Assassin's Creed, although I kind of want to try one of those newer ones. But
I was say I keep hearing that the newer ones are pretty good, but I like.
supposedly
I don't
the
know.
one before this one is the one to play.
Origins is I thought it was good. The story's good. The main character's pretty good.
But I also kind of like the idea of playing as a sexy Greek lady that just like fucks everybody. Also seems
Yep.
kind of fun.
Yep.
Just like I'm gonna fuck this
Yeah,
old
there's
man and this
yeah,
old
you could be
lady
doing-
and this.
Yeah,
like-
there's one that was like, "Hey, can you get this herb so my old man can get it up?" And you're like, "Yep, okay, I guess we can do that." And then you bring it back, and her husband's like, "Oh man, I'm exhausted. She's gonna kill me. Why did you do this?" And one of the options you can have there is, "Well, I'll take care of you, baby."
Yeah, I
Mr.
don't know,
Monster
I
says, started Resident Evil the Director's Cut, but RE4 is where I played the most. Really did enjoy the remake of the first Resident Evil game.
Yeah, the first remake is super good. But I
Snarkcast
played.
says, Odyssey surprised me with how good it was, and yes, Cassandra is back. I mean, my favorite still to this point is Black Flag of the newer things. Like, if you ignore the Ezio trilogy.
The feeling did not seem like I would have enjoyed it. That it just felt like I saw all that stuff and I was like, that does not look like fun.
I can understand that.
But I played the first one and was like, okay, this is not very good. And then I played the
There's
American
like a good
Revolution
concept
one,
of a game
right buried in there
that
somewhere.
that is not fleshed out, and that's what Assassin's Creed 2 took care of. It's like Uncharted. Like the first Uncharted it has a lot of good ideas, but it's kind of repetitive and not quite really fleshed out cleanly in Assassin's Creed or Uncharted.
I
2.
failed and I forgot
Terrific.
how good the fail screen is. Holy shit. Oh boy.
The first Uncharted is not very good.
Yeah.
Don't come complaining if you catch a cold sitting in that tepid bath. Oh man.
Yeah, so I don't know. I check in on Assassin's Creed periodically. I guess maybe it's time for me to check in again because, like I said, the last one I checked in on was the American Revolution one.
I mean,
and I
the
was
other-
like really underwhelmed.
Yeah, that. Yeah. A lot of people, not a lot of people, some people seem to really like that one, but it didn't quite gel for me. But you're not a huge fan of sinking a ton of time into a game, and most of those games take a lot of time to really
I am if it's
get
good.
stuck with it. Yeah.
I sunk like 80 some hours into Metal Gear Solid 5.
That game's not 85 hours good either.
That game is totally 80. It's exactly 85 hours good.
That game's about
Precisely.
20 hours good.
It's just somewhere.
I never
probably-
even got to the. I barely got into. I don't know if I even made it to the second fucking world because it just was like.
I
the
mean,
menus and stuff
45
was
of
so
those
bad.
hours are just the ending. So,
Right.
Fair.
I mean, he only
Yeah.
played 40 hours.
Sitting in a car with Skullface and having a monologue at you.
Exactly. Tying up every loose end that ever existed. even
Oh,
once you
The
didn't know
second
were
map, the second map in MGS5 is great. Like it's
Yeah.
a better map, and like one of the first missions.
is
It's too bad that you have to play like 35 fucking hours of the game to get there.
I mean, you don't have to if you're doing every single goddamn side mission. Maybe you have to, but you don't have
I
to.
still
do
I
that.
put like 25 hours into it and get there.
Also, like 12 of those hours are loading screens. So.
Yeah, you want to load in and then like look at the spend a bunch of like you have to go back and forth on the fucking helicopter every goddamn time.
I mean, you can ride the horse. You don't have to go back and forth on the helicopter.
You do if
But
you want to
I
go
will
back to your
say-
base. You do.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say,
go back to Mother Base.
I never got tired of Fultoning dudes
Nope, that was awesome.
out of various. It's just
I feel like I saw everything I needed. I
approach a fort.
had a horse poop on me.
Take it apart.
I made a car go into a ditch by having a horse poop on the road.
Wait, are we still talking about the game?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's real
Okay.
life, baby.
All right. Yeah. Okay. what I
But
thought.
yeah, anyway, well, so I picked up and have started playing Dragon Age Inquisition.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a new game several years
Really?
ago. right?
2014, Mike struggled. Had a I think on our podcast, Mike talked about his struggles with that game for months
Yeah.
and months on end, where he had
Yeah.
just like a love-hate relationship with it, where he couldn't stop playing it, but he could
He was
never really
hate-fucking
commit to how much that he never really seemed
Yeah.
to actually like it.
Yeah.
So are you having that same
you-
Yeah,
experience?
that was fun with
or-
it. So the thing
Did
was
you-
is that
I was gonna say,
when it
did
came,
you play any of the others?
I mean, I played the first one, and I played enough
Okay.
of the second one to realize that the second one wasn't very good.
The second one was a good story in search of great gameplay.
Really boring level. I mean, it just like
Yeah, the
regurgitates
level
the
design
same
was
levels at
garbage.
you over and
Yeah.
over and over again, and it's not
Yep.
not a good time.
Yep. Agreed.
But so far, I'm liking this one quite a bit. I kind of been keeping it. So, the year
Keeping
it
it
came out was the year before The Witcher 3 came out, and so I had played The Witcher 2 like around the time that one was coming out. So I just spent a bunch of time on a great big honking RPG. And then I also didn't want to burn myself out before The Witcher 3 came out, which turned out to be a really good decision because
That was a good. I'd burned myself out on The Witcher 3.
yeah. Witcher 3 is a better game than Dragon Age Inquisition. But
Oh,
then,
well, that's absolutely true.
yeah. But
The Witcher 3 is also like 40 times the game.
yeah,
content
Witcher 3 is
that
the game
game
that
is.
Dragon Age Inquisition wanted to be. in
Yeah,
terms of its
probably.
size and scope and the size of the world. I mean, I've only played like 7 or 8 hours of this so far, but it definitely it's got big maps with a lot of stuff to do. But
Yeah, it's certainly better than 2 as an overall experience. And I didn't have the kinds of problems that Mike did. I played to completion, but
anyway, I like the character so far.
yep. Are you?
I am a
Have you found the?
Canary lady.
Okay, sugar lady. Oh, Canary lady, nice.
Yes.
And have
So
you
I'm giant
found
and I have
the-
horns and
the knight lady, the very proper knight lady with the slight speech impediment.
Cassandra.
Yeah,
She's like she's like the main character that starts the Inquisition,
yeah,
along with the lady from the very first Dragon Age.
right.
Yes, I have met her. And Varric,
I-
who's a dwarf, who's in
Yes.
the second game, I think.
He's actually, the second game is told by him as in flashback.
Yeah.
He's a great character. Cassandra is really great. I was super sad that you can't romance her as a lady
Oh,
main character.
spoilers.
Just a bummer.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about spoilers. For that 5-year-old video game.
Yep. And also, what's the other character's name? There's a dude in that game. There's an elf dude that you meet.
Oh, like
Are you
the party member elf guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
God,
met
he's
him.
an asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
He's a huge racist douchebag. But he's kind of a great character. Like,
Yeah.
he's written really well
Yep.
as that racist
I agree.
douchebag.
That is my
But you just want to
6
punch
hour
him so hard all the time.
But yeah, I'm liking it. Like I said, I just after The Witcher 3,
Yeah, you,
there was
you can't be doing
I needed some space from that
Yep.
type of game, and then
You
I was
needed
kind
to
of
play,
hoping
like,
that Anthem would have
1,200. You needed to play 1,200 hours of Overwatch.
Yeah,
if you were ready
right.
for another RPG.
Well, I mean, I wanted fucking Mass Effect Andromeda to be good, but it wasn't, so I never
Yeah.
played that.
Yeah.
I decided that from what your experiences and Mike's experiences were with it, that there was just no point in me playing that. And so then I just kept this in my back pocket, and then Anthem came out, and that was also kind of a disappointment. This might be the last of the good BioWare games, so maybe now's the time for me to play it.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. Although, in theory, they're working on another Dragon Age.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I know. I think the combat's kind of boring in this. It's a little.
Yeah.
You just hold down the right trigger and your guy just hits, and then you use your special abilities and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's fine. I would rather have at this point in my life. I either want a lot of really unique encounters, or just to have it sort of go on autopilot so I can watch YouTube videos and TV shows and shit while I'm playing. And this is that kind
Yep.
of combat, so it's fine.
Yeah. Mr. Monster says Assassin's Creed 3 was probably my favorite, but I do love the Ezio trilogy a lot. I love the entire Metal Gear series, and I have some more hours into that than I have in any other game. MGS3 is the best.
Hell yeah, MGS3.
MGS3, really fucking good. Really fucking good.
And that's great boss battles. That's where MGS5 faltered the most. It's
Agreed.
it doesn't even really have boss. I mean, it does. But
Kind of. Depends on if you consider
when I
those-
was making snarky comments about MGS, you were saying MGS5, and I was thinking of MGS4, which is why I was taking a dump on the ending.
Well, 4.
yeah, four is
Because 4 does have a 45-hour ending.
Yeah, 4 has some great gameplay systems wrapped in basically a shitty movie.
Right.
around
Yep.
these Great gameplay systems.
Yep. Yeah, so I realized in the middle of that conversation, I was like, wait, I was actually talking about the wrong thing, so. Oh well. But yeah, MGS3 is terrific.
So, it's a little bit after 11, and I haven't eaten.
I got 3 minutes left on this,
You
so
haven't eaten.
I'm gonna finish this.
You should eat.
I'm gonna let Eric finish this. Before we
Yeah, we'll
call
do
it.
the.
Let's see how
do
big
that,
I
go
can
to
get
the
this
end of that, and then
Katamari.
we'll call it a thing.
I got 3 minutes. I made my goal.
So I've been playing that, and I've also been playing Stardew Valley on my Switch,
Oh, cool.
which has been a lot of fun because I've been traveling and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'll get this, and I'll just like plink away at it a little bit here and there. I've played a bunch of the Harvest Moon games. I don't know that I've ever played any of them to completion or anything, but I've played like a whole bunch of different ones, and I always enjoy them for the time that I'm in, but I don't feel like compelled to somehow, go crazy with it. And this is a really good breed.
I'm big enough to get cars now.
Exemplar of that kind of thing, so it's been a lot of fun.
Business is about to pick up.
Uh-oh.
There's the car level, and then there's when you get big enough to start picking up trees, and that's when shit really starts to get wild.
Yeah. Not quite big enough for that soccer goal, but you can pick up all those people.
There we go. These shrubberies. I think it's
a shrubbery.
Must be the next one after this, where you get like big enough to start picking up like continents and stuff.
Well, I mean, the major like continents, that's the end.
Is that level? Is there 9 or 10?
I can't remember.
Main
But there's allusions to it in various comments because he keeps making comments about. I can't remember exactly what it is. I was playing this like a month and a half ago or whatever with the Switch reissue, and I realized he's making comments that imply later, that you'll be able to roll stuff like that up.
I was hoping I'd get big enough to get those big trees, but I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that in this level. Like eventually you could like roll up those buildings and stuff, but you gotta work at it. Or you can start like getting underneath
there's
the.
someone somewhere who's mastered this game to such a point that they can get big enough to roll.
I used to be pretty fucking.
Yeah,
I used to be
right.
really good at this game, but I don't know. I feel like I got at least I got the shiny stars, which means I'll get the approving comments of the king on this one.
Yeah. If it's sparkly, you're good to go.
Anyway, that's Katamari Damacy. It's a fucking great game. One of the best video games of all time.
Word.
This is in the whatever Super Mario World, Tetris.
Yeah. It is a.
You can't. This is
It is a
unfuckwithable.
classic.
I will not like. There is
Yes.
no arguments
I
to
will
be
brook
made
no-
against this being a
right.
great video game.
Yeah, there's no asterisk here.
It's one of those.
The things
If it
I
didn't
collected the
have-
most are fruit, teenagers, and roadways. So this is a great fucking video game. God damn
It's a
it.
game that if
We
it
are
didn't
moved to
have all the
tears.
sequels and the diminishing returns on all the sequels, you would like this is one of
Yeah,
the truly unique games.
Yep.
But since they made like 6 sequels or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Well, there's like 3 actual sequels, and then there's like some Vita and there's like a bunch of there's like a ton of mobile
offshoot
versions
remixes
that they
and
put
shit.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
ton of other stuff, but there's only like
I
3
feel
or
like
4
those don't
main
count.
Katamari
Yeah.
games.
Yep.
All right.
To be
well,
continued. Just like the stream, to be continued next Wednesday.
Yep.
that's right.
See you next Wednesday.
Ooh, I have a winter scarf.
Bum, bum, bum,
It's a
bum.
note. What does it say? See you next
So this
Wednesday.
says nice.
Stop streaming. Goodbye.
So Wikipedia
Right.
says reroll is it done in the Unity engine.
Oh, really?
That's what it claims.
Maybe it
Allegedly.
is like a total. I thought that all the it looked like all
that
the
doesn't seem-
assets
it
and
looks-
stuff
yeah.
look grainy
looks-
in the way that it would,
yeah.
but I don't know. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
actually stopping the stream now. Bye.